Another evening of museum in Lotus, back here in this gallery with Mr. Giuseppe De Giosa. As per previous episodes, we are going to take a look at the wonderful not-for-sale collections, artifacts owned by Master Yin privately. And of course, from there, hopefully you can get some idea and sense into the collections that Lotus on Water, selling first-hand collections and so on, and hopefully into the world of Master Yin's feng shui art. Because some of the collections, they are actually really interesting and really valuable to actually take a look and understand more. As we go into the 30th episode, nearly so, 40th episode, I think over the many episodes, we have come to learn a lot of things about culture, about history, about things that we did not imagine, and so on. So there we have. And last week, just to recap, friends who are here can help us to like and share, because this afternoon when I was preparing for the show, I was just doing some heavy lifting stuff. The artifacts we are going to talk about today, which will bring us into a topic that is quite very interesting by my own tasting. Small, but still quite heavy. And I start to think about how these people in the past actually manage all these artifacts. It's quite really a feat, which brings to another philosophical question. So if you're here, do like and share. Tong Chi Hong is here, Ruby Xia, Madam Lai, Laura, and so on. So last week, we went to a new place we have never been before. We went to Nepal.
Correct.
All right, we went to Nepal, where the place where Buddha's Sikamuni was born, and we saw the bronze dragons. They were used as like sort of like taps or pipes, which conducts water away, similar to what they had in the Forbidden Palace.
Yes.
And also we saw this pair of very interesting Hindu-influenced masks of Shiva and Parvati.
Yes.
Am I right? So, you know, we have followed the flight of the dragon for quite a while. How the dragon flies out of China, how it influences Tibet, how Tibet after that, and China as well influences Nepal. You know, I went on to read something interesting. I talked about Tang Dynasty and the second emperor of Tang Dynasty, one of the princess, Wen Chen Gongzhu, married into Tibet. Married the Tibetan king, who actually was the first one who formalized Buddhism as the national religion. Apparently that king, the Tibetan king, has two main wives, sorry, they had a lot of wives, yeah, two main wives. One was from Tang Dynasty, and that's the one who brought Buddhism from China into Tibet, Wen Chen Gongzhu. We talked about her many other times. The other princess, or the other wife that she has, is actually from Nepal. So Nepal brought its own branch of sort of like Buddhism inside, and they went to have a mix, and it became something formal, and then it spread out of the back again. So the whole culture, how it influences, it's really complicated and really fun at the same time to actually know about it. Today, I mentioned we talked about the two masks last week. Do we have the image for those? We talked about, see, these two masks. We were trying to put on these two masks.
Yes.
You get a good shampoo after that. Do you know that when we put on those two masks, back in the old days when we do that, it might have been during a ritual. It might have been doing a what we call now a 法事 or a celebration or something that the ones that are chosen people who are wearing those masks and they perform. The word perform is not even correct. They become those deities that they put on the mask, and it was Shiva and Parvati.
Yes.
So for a brief moment, even though we were not prepared that day, spiritually, we became Shiva and Parvati. We personify them briefly. So today we follow this path of the masks, and we go southwards. And once we go southwards from Nepal, it's going to be into India, a country that probably in Museum in Lotus, you've been catching us on the episodes, you would be familiar. But I'm still going to give them a sense of the geography by drawing out a map. I've been practicing the drawing of the Asian map for quite a while. Yeah. So let's try drawing out where we were, and where we are going today, huh? Let's take a look. Daryl is here, Yip is here, Lia Arnoy, and so on. Okay. Whiteboard. Let's try. Huh? It's, I think when you want to draw Asia, the first place you have to draw is China.
Yes.
You just can't miss it because it's so big, right? So China is actually, like I said last week, it's actually like a rooster. So somewhere here is the end of China, goes in a little bit, and then here is where the Koreas are. I really feel at the rooster head. Then it comes in Shanghai and places like this, something like this. Oh, this looks like a rooster.
It does.
So this is China. Okay, this is China we have here. Now India is from this tip onwards, I will just draw it simply, something like a long leaf shape, something like that.
Yes.
So this is China, and this is India. And the Nepal region that we were at was right smack in between both of them. Small little area here. This was Nepal, right? And then of course you have Bhutan here somewhere, and then it's Myanmar and so on. So the rest of us, the Southeast Asia, will actually be somewhere around here. It will actually be somewhere around here, and it goes on. Myanmar and so on, so it goes on. So this is India. So when we saw the two masks of Shiva and Parvati, it was here.
Yes.
Correct? Today we travel southwards into India, am I right?
We travel very south,
Very
actually,
south.
in India. Yes,
where are we traveling? Let's say this is India. Where are we traveling to?
actually traveling in this region here,
This region here,
which basically is southwest of India.
southwest of India.
Southwest of India. And basically, we concentrate our attention on two states. And that is Kerala, south, and above Kerala, there's Karnataka. Just above, just above.
So we have Kerala, which is like very south.
Yes, above it, Karnataka.
Karnataka.
And then if we look at north of Karnataka, we found the state of Maharashtra. And to simplify, that would be Mumbai.
Right.
And then we have Goa. So
Okay.
this is just to give you, and we're interested in a particular districts which are spread between the two states of Kerala and Karnataka.
So we are focusing our attention on these two states over here, huh?
Correct.
Okay, a brief idea on what's going on. Because we have actually been to India several times in Museum in Lotus, huh? So this is India, something like this. I hope I can draw a better one later. We mentioned India several times. For instance, we have the Pillar of Light.
Yes.
That's from Kerala.
Kerala.
Right? Do we have the pillar of light just for reminders? See the pillar of light? That's the pillar of light, Kerala. We call it the Kerala lamp anyway. So
Kerala
that's
lamp.
definitely from Kerala, the very south state, number one. And then we also, if I remember correctly, we also have another one that it's a bit unique. It's like an angel with wings.
Yes,
You mentioned it was from Goa.
Goa, correct.
So we have also reached Goa before. We have done Kerala, yes, where the lamp is from, over here. Right at the tip here, we also have done Goa, where the angel is from. That's the angel we're talking about. This angel
Yes.
was from Goa. So we have actually sort of covered this small little area as well,
Yes.
Goa. So today we are actually talking about this Karnataka and this Kerala. And actually we are following the path of the mask.
Yes,
That means the culture of using this mask continues from Tibet all the way into India, so southwest into Karnataka, and also Kerala as well.
Yes.
You can also find the presence of this mask over
Yes, sir.
here.
yes,
And I suppose when they wear this mask, they are also performing as rituals and gods and goddesses.
yes.
Perhaps, right in front of us, we have quite a few. Which would you like to start to talk about first?
Okay, we seem to have here 3 different masks, but actually we have 2 real masks, which I'm going to comment about, and this mask here is incomplete. We have the other piece, which we will show you, which completes the entire mask. So this is an incomplete mask.
Right.
And we will try to understand why it's incomplete. We will try also to understand what completes these masks. Okay, let me start with this mask here.
Okay.
This mask here actually comes from what we basically said, districts in the 2 states of Karnataka, north, and Kerala, south. And the people are rural people, tribal people, who are actually defined as they're defined as Tulu Nadu.
Tulu Nadu.
Tulu Nadu. It's not Tamil Nadu, it's Tulu Nadu.
Okay, speaking of which, just in case, because I thought they might ask, is that we know, so we are in this region, Kerala and Karnataka.
Yes.
The region that's next to it that most of us will be familiar is because you mentioned Tulu Nadu.
Yes, Tulu Nadu.
Because we have here a huge region. Here, this southeast of what is India now, this is the Tamil Nadu.
Yes,
This is the Tamil Nadu, where Chennai is and so on. So this is where majority of back in history, back in those days, where the Indian communities, they migrate from here all the way to Singapore.
Yes.
But you are talking about in these 2 regions over here, there are smaller regions that are called Tulu Nadu.
Tulu Nadu.
So we are not talking about the familiar Tamil Nadu today. No, not this. Not this. Oops. Not this. We are talking about Tulu Nadu.
Tulu Nadu.
Okay, which is actually in the very difficult to write word. It's called Karnataka. Am I right?
Yes.
Luckily, it's all romanticized.
Yes.
And plus Kerala area.
Kerala.
Okay.
Yes.
So there we have, which is right here in this region over here. Somewhere here, okay? So what about this community?
It's interesting because they have their own language and they have their own tradition, which is a mixture of their own peculiar culture and tradition with Hinduism. And we will examine what the influence of Hinduism has had for these communities. So, what is very interesting about this community? It's what they perform once a year, and that is the so-called Bhuta Kola. It's a beautiful ceremonial festival that takes place, again, once a year. What happens? You would possibly been made aware that priests would basically assign the role to a male, let's call it performer. And all of these ceremonies, important ceremonies, which would last for one day, and specifically during the evening, were sponsored because it required quite a bit of money by well-to-do families. So villagers and the family who had sponsored would participate, and this male figure would have depiction over the body.
Right.
But in order to perform, they would actually wear a mask.
So we are talking about the continuation of the mask, right? As we see this over here. What is this figurine?
Okay, this is the ox mask.
This is the ox mask. So we are actually following the path of the mask from Nepal, Shiva and Parvati, into the southwest regions of India. In this small little region called, there's a lot of nouns around here. So anyway, in this region and in this tribe and in this community, they also have masks that actually means that when they pray to it or when the person adorns it, they are the gods, or they perform as the gods. They perform as the deities. They perform as the spirits. Am I right to say, to summarize it like this, am I correct?
Not only you're correct, but to the extent that these people felt themselves to be the god that they were actually representing. And so they took the voice and the movement in dancing and the depictions. And they would actually address the community, and they would provide the community with their advice.
Right.
Not only to the families who had supported them, but to the villagers who would go there. Imagine they would wait an entire year and ask the performer again, who had become not anymore the individual known, but he would be the divinity, which is represented through a mask. And they would ask for advice. If they had trouble, they would ask how to solve the issue that they had. So imagine this person with all this color dancing around, singing, and their voice would be the voice of the spirit. Imagine at night with all the lights around, and this human being, not the priest, because the priest would have given them the role of performing, and they would give advice. Which means, look how human beings are fragile. Therefore, the need of a God, the God who guides, the God who protects, the God who gifts with all the requirements of what the human being in a rural area could not obtain.
Can we, for the sake of the few masks here, even though this is not complete, we will talk about this in detail later.
Yes.
That you're saying that these few masks that we see here, that you are seeing here today, they all have such similar functions.
Yes.
That when during that ceremony and during that event, or whichever day it is as determined, when they put, oh my God, what is this made of?
This is...
all this are made of?
Okay, this is bronze.
This is bronze, and
this is bronze. Also bronze,
and
this would be brass.
It's extremely heavy. I thought it would be light because I thought it was a mask.
And it's a very small one, as you can possibly see.
Okay, this is a small one. So you're saying that when they put on this mask like this, like what we did with the Shiva and the Parvati mask, and they embody the spirit of the deity that this mask represents.
Yes.
In short, that means that you are telling us as similar to what we saw with Shiva and the Parvati mask as well. When these masks, they become not just a play, you know, it becomes a portal.
Yes.
To channel the unspeakable, the mysterious, the powerful, the godly into this mortal world.
Yes.
Because if without this, then the gods have no other chance to manifest in this form. They can manifest in terms of signs, in terms of signals. There is a saying in Chinese, it's called 道成肉身. In English, it's very difficult to translate, or the word becomes the flesh. That's a Catholic thing, right?
The word becomes the flesh.
Is it a very Catholic thing?
It
the words
is.
becomes the flesh?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because, and also perhaps through this, the formless was given the form,
Yes.
right? The formless was given the form. And for one day, or for how long the celebration would last, the person who performs, was chosen to perform, who was wearing this mask, he becomes God for one day.
With tremendous energies, that person felt that he was a god.
This is a interesting tradition and culture, because not just in this Tulunadu area that we see this, if I'm sure you're a bit familiar, because in the Asian traditions, or even till today, there are still many practices around that it's something similar that will allow the person to be like a medium, and they channel the energy of the gods, and for that brief moment, they are the god that they represent. And in Chinese, we see people who some are chosen since young, some have to be trained for it, and so on, and they will be embodied by particular Chinese deities and gods. And during those gods' birthday or certain ceremonies, they would manifest. I can't find a better word for it. I think it's manifest. In Chinese, I think the word is called, it's not even Chinese, I think it's Hokkien, it's called Tangki. You know, you somehow the gods manifest through you. And for that moment, you will see that these people, they can do marvelous or magnificent or godly or beyond human limits feats.
Yes.
Right? Actually, you know, even in today's world, that if you see during some of the festive activities by our Tamils or the Hindu or the Indians, you know, when they walk on fire, they go into a state of trance, you know, when they have that thing. It's also something, not just to, while they are more in connection to the gods, then they showed all this to prove that their faith is strong, and that therefore they can do such non-human-like feats. That's the, and I suppose when they put on this mask, go around, as you mentioned, like answering questions, like answering divinity, it's pretty much like how the Chinese are performing till today as well. So it has that power, and it's really like a portal and a channel to allow the gods to enter into our world. So that is the ox you mentioned.
It's the ox. But before we get to the ox,
Right.
Since you've shown this beautiful mask,
Small but heavy, you know.
heavy mask.
So if a person is wearing this mask, this heavy mask,
Yes.
Let's say even for 2 hours,
Yes.
and if it's for a day's festive, it's actually a great representation of their godly strength, because it's not just something simple. It's something that is quite heavy. I'm not sure whether you can have a chance to wear it yourself, but it's nuts. You wear it for 2 hours.
But these people, in my opinion, felt they were possessed by the spirit, and therefore the body did not anymore responded to the normal requirement of a human being. They were possessed by the spirit, and as such, they were in the position to address the audience. And there were not 2 or 3 or 5, there were hundreds of them, full of questions, all trying to get directions for their daily life. And all had to be done within one day.
Right.
And possibly at night. Now, when we look at this mask, what do you think about this mask? What does it represent, this mask? Is it a dog? No.
It's definitely not the ox thing, right?
It's
That
not
was the
the
ox. This is not. This is another animal spirit.
This is definitely another animal.
Right.
And this animal is a very beautiful animal. This is a boar.
A boar?
Why a boar? Now, when you think about the communities, we're talking about rural communities. We're talking about people living out of their crops. So look at the association between the boar, the people, farmers who were cultivating, and what would happen when hordes of boar would enter their fields. They would destroy everything. And the sacrifices of the season would be gone. What to do? Do you kill them? No, you don't kill them. You worship them. You provide them with offerings with the idea they would not destroy, eat the crop that you've made. So something or an animal which actually was an enemy was transformed into a divinity.
Right.
This is the boar. Now, when we look at it, this is called the panjurli. That is the technical word which is used in the communities of Tulu Nadu. So Tulu Nadu communities and the people who live in this community are called Buta. Now, when we specify about this mask, the boar, we said that we call them Panjurli Buta. Panjurli means boar, Buta means the spirit, and the spirit of the ancestors. This is what actually it means. So, when we look at this mask, we need to enter in a little bit of the details to try to appreciate it. Now, when we look, I would like just to highlight few elements.
I must say, sorry, because I jumped from this mask to this mask because this mask has a lot more details going on than that mask.
A lot more details.
And you know, after so many episodes, you will want to go for a thing that's a lot more details.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, it really means a lot of different. You mentioned that it's a boar, which means it's, in a more vulgar term, it's like a wild pig.
Wild pig.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild pig.
Have you seen a wild pig in your life?
I have.
Really?
I have.
Where?
Well, in Italy, we have them. Yes, especially in Tuscany, where there's a lot of woods, and they're quite dangerous, to tell you the truth.
I have only seen wild pig one time. It's not during my national service days. It's when I was in Holland, Netherlands, when I was visiting a client with Master Yun. And somehow that client had a restaurant in the forest. I have no idea why. Like, who goes to a forest to have a lunch? But apparently the Dutch people do. Dutch people really do a lot of weird things, yeah. So it's a lunch, and then they like to do this, you know, you have lunch there, and then you say, why don't you take a walk around the entire forest? Because it's great, and it's great weather, so it's wonderful. And you know, the Dutch, they're very friendly. You meet with anyone on the streets, unlike Singaporeans, they will say, oh, goedemorgen, that means how are you doing?
Yes.
Because you don't do that in Singapore. People will think that you're crazy.
Is it?
No one greets anyone in Singapore, yeah.
How sad. How sad.
My Dutch client, when he came to Singapore, he said that, Singaporeans have a few national sports. One of them is running. Because when he was walking on the streets and where he resided in the hotel, a lot of people were running. Probably some of you are running now. And he said that the sad thing is that when a lot of people are running, they're not smiling. Because everyone is very serious in Singapore. So in any way, in that forest, when we were walking by, so gently, you know, all the rustling of leaves, so romantic and stuff. Suddenly there was a huge rustle. And then when we turned back, we saw, I don't even know the term for it. Like, we call it a school of fishes, right? I don't even know the term for it. Like, there was a pack, maybe a pack of wild boars that just flushed through the forest. You can obviously see that there was one big one, and then the small ones, probably there were a lot of people around, so they were a bit frantic and scared, just went through. That was my only time seeing a wild boar. But I suppose in the Tulu Nadu regions, they have seen a lot to actually make into a deity.
A lot.
And such a refined mask, that means that the respect, I'm just thinking the respect and the how they rank the gods or the deities and the spirits, this should be quite high up there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it mattered a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there are things that we can see that it's a wild boar. These are the tusks, am I right?
Absolutely,
oh my God,
the
the
tusk.
tongue is
Yes.
it can be it's a flexible tongue.
It's a flexible tongue.
It's a flexible tongue. Eyes, yes, but here caught my attention. This.
Yes.
What are this?
These are nagas,
Oh.
the serpents. And the serpents basically are associated with the god sun.
Right. So, wild boar, yes. Boar, yes. But a deified boar that actually has the protection or the aura or the halo
crown.
or the crown of a crown of nagas which has the power from the sun god.
Sun god.
Am I right? So that makes it a godly thing.
Absolutely a godly thing.
Right.
But let's think about where this was fabricated. It was fabricated by, for the rural people, very strongly associated with fields and associated with the animals of the field. And the naga is definitely part and parcel of the land. Actually, they are the protectors of the ancestor treasures. But not only that, they are actually worshipped and worshipped by farmers who would often provide to the naga the first milk of their cows, and they would also provide the first crop of the harvest. Kept in great consideration, protectors. They were not killed. So in this mask of the boar, we see this wonderful crown, beautifully detailed, and these cobras are almost moving forward.
I can imagine, as Mr. Pino has mentioned, because I'm like going back into time, to history, we know the location. I've drawn the map painstakingly. I think by the end of this whole Art Beyond Museum series, I will be able to draw the world map brilliantly.
Absolutely.
Brilliantly, yeah. Heavy mask to start with, right? And you really put that on, and I think you activate the tongue movement to make it more realistic.
Yes.
With their own tongue, probably, or with their own. I don't know how they do it. They may probably will have to use their own tongue. Small chin, no. I think it's the tongue. They will have to activate it like this. So, and with the protection of the gods, the sun gods, nagas as well. So this is really something. And I mean, the whole idea that through a mask, the unspeakable, the superhuman or the godly energy that is without form manifests into something that is with form, and for the day a man becomes God. This idea that a person can be supernatural, superhuman, and you know, to have powers that's beyond our daily and mortal limitations, it's really something that everyone hopes to have. And
Yes.
that's why we have so many superhero movies nowadays. You watch that thing and you wish that you have those things. You have those powers. Way before all these movies were created or invented, the ancestors, they had their own sets of beliefs, and it was something like this.
Yes.
And this is what they have. And through it, they're imbued with such superhuman energy, to the power that they can, as you mentioned, to answer questions, to answer divination, to give directions, to give godly directions to the people. So this whole thing, it's like really bringing forth, through this portal, bringing forth the ultimate. And in a sense, it's actually like Master art. Because two things. One, this is the base of this is like a wild boar.
Wild boar.
But not just an ordinary wild boar, because it's a godly one.
Yes.
We have cranes, we have common cranes. But the cranes that Master paint, or the peacocks that you have seen before in the past, that they are not the biological or your ordinary peacocks or cranes. These are the ideological ones. These are the philosophical ones. These are the ideal ones. And they manifest to their best versions or even to their godly versions, hence all the gold and stuff, via the canvas that Master paints. And that's how they become the gods for that particular day. Of course, when it's immortalized on the canvas, then the godly crane, it's there to stay for a long time to come. So despite the difference in time, in geography, in culture, the desire to bring forth something ultimate, something godly, something bigger than ourselves, it's still here. And you can still find it in Master Yun's art today.
Mr. Khan, why don't you tell us the experience of installing one of Master Yun's beautiful painting in the client's house, and especially with reference to the crane?
You see, okay, let me link it together with this mask that we have today. Without the mask, the person is human.
Yes.
With the mask, the person becomes God.
Yes.
In Chinese, it might be more rhyming. 戴着面具是神，摘下面具是人. Everything in Chinese sounds more rhyming, huh?
Yeah,
or maybe
it's very
it's coming from me, yeah. Correct. So when you wear the mask, you become a god. And when you don't wear the mask, you are mortal.
Yes.
Right? Without the fengshui painting in the house or without in the office, you won't lose. People will still perform and they'll go on their lives. But when you put on the mask, and when you have, as experienced by many clients, that's why some of them got 6, 7 of them, your life goes into a godly mode. You can achieve things that you never thought you can achieve before you put on the mask. Could you have given divination powers to people? Or could you have lifted 300 kgs of strength? Could you have actually tolerated this entire weight for like 2 to 3 hours? Or walk on fire? Or have a lot of needles poking through you without feeling a sense of pain? That is before you put on the mask. And after you do that, you realize that you can do a lot more. What I'm trying to say is that we are not fulfilling our godly potential. What happened to clients after they put on Master Yun's painting in their house is that they and their family members realize that whatever they think that could not be done could be done and could be achieved. Business-wise, family-wise is the worst thing because when two people's relationship they are broken down, it's difficult to patch it back together. But
you're right.
It's possible. And we have seen it happen again and again. Not to mention even that how the business grew from 1 factory to 3 factory. It's possible. If I tell you now, if I challenge someone now, you might be able to grow your business 3 times. Say, no, this is impossible. You know why? Because of COVID, because the market is down, because Nancy Pelosi is going to visit Taiwan soon, all this thing, add together. Right? You will find a lot of human, mortal reasons to constrict yourself. And that is because you haven't put on the mask. Once you put on the mask and you allow the godly energy to enter you, to be imbued into you, and you are not just human, you are superhuman. And you can achieve things that you cannot imagine, so just like the clients.
You're actually telling me that when a paintings or more than one painting are included in a setup, either
Yes.
that be an office or that be the house, then certain energy would just go through the person or the family that has that particular painting. In this case, we're talking about the cranes, and they would feel empowered to move ahead and to do things that otherwise they would not be able to do.
Yes, it might be intentionally that because I bought this painting, I have to do something about it. Or it might be just like what a lot of cultures and religions believe, that the spirit is speaking to me. You know, I don't know what does it happen in Catholicism, that some people speak in tongues. Not in Catholicism, right?
No.
In Protestant, they believe that, oh, God is speaking, then they speak in tongues. So the same when they put on the mask, the energy of the gods is with me. And that's how they can perform things that are, in a sense, that out of human belief. That, oh, how can you achieve this greatness or this prosperity in such a shorter period of time? It's not a cheat code. It's just that they believe that and they allow the energy to go through them.
So I would say overcoming limitations.
In a sense. So that's why it will make a lot of sense when we talk about the master in the center, because these two, one is the ox, the other is the wild boar. They are spirits deified by the people.
Yes.
Now, the center one, you say there is an incomplete piece.
It's incomplete.
It's, sorry?
Incomplete piece.
So this piece here, it's not entirely complete. And I particularly mentioned just now, we must follow the path from Nepal all the way to southwest of India into this Karnataka. Okay, yeah, Karnataka and Kerala, this whole region, because this mask and the other piece that comes along together with it, forms a set, has a great relationship with the Hindu-influenced Nepalese mask that we saw last week. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
So,
yes.
Do you want me to bring out the other piece, or?
Why not? Yes.
So, when we see this whole set, then we will reach the height of what it means to, when you wear a mask, you become the god for one day.
Absolutely.
I think maybe one day, because it's extremely heavy. Yeah, I'm not sure whether the gods will stay in you for so long, because gods are extremely busy as well. So that's the mask. Would you like to hold the mask while I bring out the other piece to complement it?
Again, a very heavy one.
Very heavy one. I intentionally got this cloth here.
Yes.
It's heavy. I'm torturing you, am
No,
I right?
No.
Because it gives friction, so it doesn't slip off. The other piece that comes along with it is so heavy that I cannot put it on the table. Oh my God. And I have to find an angle. It looks like this. It's a breastplate.
It's a breastplate.
It's a breastplate. Yeah, literally breast as well. It's a breastplate. Yes. So these two things are supposed to come together. I mean, okay.
Yes.
It's a breastplate.
They come together.
And it's extremely heavy. Yeah.
It's extremely heavy. Now, what does this represent is Jumati. And when we speak about Jumati, is basically the male figure. And of course, the breastplate, and you can see the characteristic of a voluptuous woman completes. And we see that Shiva and Parvati, in other words, have merged together. And so there's a sense of woman and male together.
So what Mr. Pino is saying is that, okay, let me find a good support, is that this, in certain ceremonies, would you like to find a support for it first, just in case? Yeah. In certain ceremonies, this chosen person, fortunate to be chosen by the gods and for the gods to manifest through him, unfortunate in the sense that it's, oh my God, it's extremely heavy, is that
extremely heavy.
He would wear this chest plate, which is made of what?
This is brass, very thick brass.
Okay. And I'm just gonna let the brass rest on my shoulder. You see, it actually fits perfectly, huh?
Perfectly.
And will you do me a favor to give me the what?
This is Jumati.
The Jumati mask. So what happens is that the mask belongs here, and the breastplate belongs here, right? Okay. This is the full form of who I am.
This is the full form.
When I perform in the ceremony. And this, okay, please, thank you. And this whole thing is actually, this whole manifestation is a combination of Shiva and Parvati.
Absolutely,
They two in one, they merged and they became, what's the word again? J, starts with J?
Jumati.
Jumati, okay, I gotta remember that thing. So, so Jumati is a deity, it's a god.
It's a god.
So when the person actually wears this whole set, he performs as Jumati. He allows the combination of Shiva and Parvati to flow through him, manifest through him. For that particular one day, he becomes a god. He becomes Jumati.
So this is one
set. This is one whole set, am I right?
This is
and I
one
think,
mask.
and I think it's not a full thing.
It's complete.
It's complete, but I suppose there's something at the back as well. It should be right. No, something that maybe leather.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
Yeah.
It would held, but I mean, look at the breast, exuberant breast. Look at the nipples, and the nipples have almost the look of a flower. Now look at the abdomen, a thick abdomen, okay, voluptuous abdomen. And as you can see, the common feature here, in spite of this being the man and this being the female, is again the cobra. We see the crown of the cobra here.
Right,
we
and
see
over
again
here.
the cobra protectors, as we have said
Seems
earlier.
like when there's an existence of the cobras here, and of course on the mask as well, they are deified. They
Yes.
are super godly in that sense.
Super godly. Now, again, this represents fecundity. The breast allows a child, newly born child, to be fed. And so look how important this is. And in between the two breasts, we have a beautiful decoration of a flower.
Right.
Look at all the necklaces, typical of the culture of the South India. They love, they adore this gold necklaces, and the details are just
It's
formidable.
astonishing. I mean, for sure, we talked about many times when the person puts on the mask,
Yes,
they become God for one day.
Yes.
This is the whole thing we'll be talking about today. And for the viewers, I mean, for the villagers,
yes,
for the community,
yes,
when they see them, then it's actually an opportunity for them to engage and participate
yes,
in activities with the God.
yes,
Because words are important, but when you engage, that's a different story altogether.
yes,
Like you can go back and ask, you can see them perform, that's entirely different. So it's really about realizing the relationship, the person with the God. Some
Yes.
people allow the gods to manifest through them. Some people will have to engage it otherwise.
Now, when I ask myself, and I ask you, what is the meaning of this mask? I mean, we've seen a head, male, we've seen the female. What is the meaning? Is to subjugate the demons. All around us, we have demons. But a mask like this, in the iconography of the people, is to basically kill the demons. So that is the great significance. And during the ceremonial, this would kill all the demons around. One mask is just one mask, very heavy, very beautiful. And these are worshipped. So that is the significance. It's not only the ritual of one evening, it's basically after that, worshipper would go there and would ask to, they would pray at them to try to realize what their requirements are.
I'm quite sure that the godly power is not with me today because I was just lifting it for a few seconds and it felt extremely heavy. So the gods are not with me today.
It's not about the gods. I mean, they are actually very, very heavy.
I mean, yeah, for sure. The gods are not speaking to me and they refuse to manifest through me today. That's why I cannot bear the weight of this. Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yes.
The whole ceremony, any ceremony nowadays, Buddhist-wise, will also last for 2 to 3 hours. Can you imagine wearing this for 2 to 3 hours? And I suppose you have to go into a lot of dance, ritual movements.
Trance.
And trance.
Yes.
Can I just, oh my
Yes.
goodness. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. You know, that is why in a great many religions, do you know the story of King Arthur?
Tell us.
Oh my God, yeah. King Arthur and Excalibur, the rightful king of England. Heard of it?
Yes.
That this sword called Excalibur was stuck in the stone for a long time. And when a rightful king comes along, he can pull this sword out. And when you pull this sword out, then you're the rightful king. Simple as that. Of course, a lot of people who have great strength and everything went to actually try to pull it. They couldn't. Only when Arthur went there, and he can pull it with ease. Simple. Then they know that, oh, this guy is the rightful king. It's the same thing. When you are chosen, when you are godly, somehow you can perform deeds that is beyond imagination. That many people, even with greater strength than you, they can do it, but they can't. Only you can. So this is really the remarkable stuff that we have here. So the whole idea, as I mentioned, similar to Master's paintings, not the real boar, not the real ox, okay? Not the real copper or bronze or brass, but it's something else. The imaginary, the ideal, the ideological, philosophical one comes to manifest alive on these canvases. So there comes my question. Just a matter of interesting debate, if necessary, that which is the real stuff? Which is the real thing? The daily thing that this person can do, that you can do, or when you realize that you can actually perform such godly deeds, such powerful movements, such enhanced strength and endurance, which is the real thing that we are talking about?
My question, just associated with your question, does the person, the performer, feel that it's a human being? I believe that in those instances where he performs, he basically is not anymore a human being. He is divine, is a deity, without being one. But again, he's possessed by the spirits. He talks on behalf of the spirits. He dances as a spirit would dance. He would give advice as a divinity would. So he's not anymore himself as a person. He is divine. And that's the reason why the community would accept the words, the wisdom, the advice, and what they should be doing in their own life for the issues that they have. Magical.
Well, true, yes, of course. It's definitely there's a godly strength from the unknown to it. Also, but I think also it gives us certain inspirations, depending on how much we want to push the limits, that a great many times that we are actually very constricted by what we do every single day. You are, we are, I am, right? Because these are the things that we do. If we can, probably not in such spiritual moods, sometimes when we put on a different mask, or we allow certain thoughts or ideas or energies to run through us, we can actually outperform ourselves by a lot. And sometimes it can be unimaginable. So sometimes we always have a saying, in English, it's called, we unmask the truth.
Yes.
Right? 揭开面具，揭露真相. Take off the mask and you see the truth. But what if it's the other way around? What if it's only when you're true that you wear a mask and you realize that, oh, I can actually do that thing you didn't know in the first place? When you wear a mask and you realize that you can do this, that becomes the better truth in life. And then you realize, oh, actually it's in me all along. I just have to allow it to be imbued in me, be part of me. So that is another take to it.
Absolutely, it's the reverse.
Yes. So in this sense, wearing a mask might bring us closer to the truth than actually removing it. In this sense. Well, we have a lot of heavy lifting today. As I said, the godly powers are not with me yet. I don't even want to leave that ox because that looks extremely heavy. The whole set with this Jumati mask and breastplate, it's just, I cannot imagine how that guy, the chosen one, did it back in the days. Probably I can only deal with the wild boar mask.
Yes.
That's a limit on my godly strength. Yeah.
Although it's also heavy, in spite of the fact that it looks small, but it's heavy.
I went online to see the videos. They still perform such dances today.
Yes.
But not with such mask. If something that's a super elaborated headgear, and the performance goes on for hours, So can you imagine back in the days when they're doing this, and after that they have to give divination and all this stuff? It's just nuts. It's just nuts. You really have to train a lot for it, and really allow the godly energy to be entering into you. But anyway, there is a speaking of mastering paintings, because I say that, you know, one way to perform better than yourself and to allow a portal to allow godly and unspoken energies, mysterious and powerful energies to go into you and your home, just like the cranes, just like the peacocks. They are not the biological ones. They are the ideal. They are the philosophical ones. The paintings behind me and Mr. Pino, they are back from Penang. I think maybe not the same ones that we did last week. To know more about these two paintings, which are my top favorite now. Okay, they are both of cranes, different, very different. The one behind me, it's more, you know, flying everywhere, creating a universe. The one behind Mr. Pino is more subdued. It's more subtle. It's more self-reflecting. Now, if you want to know more about these two and others, Art Beyond Museum Penang paintings, and I would say they are godly powers, because I heard from Gibson that when they were filming and they brought these few paintings to Penang,
yes,
a lot of miraculous and unspoken miracles or godly things happen, as if the energy of the unknown has traveled through these paintings into the world, our world, when they were. So if you want to know about all these godly stories, or in Chinese we call it 神迹, the tales of gods, with these paintings up your museum Penang, there is a session this Sunday, 4:30. Gibson will be sharing about all this, and of course highlight particular paintings, which were the ones that were more so in performing their godly powers. And of course we will, since it's going to be an Art Beyond Museum session, we'll be enjoying with a lot of champagne. There will be the drinking actually allows you to be closer to God as well.
Yes.
In a sense. So there we have. This Saturday we're going to have, this Sunday, 4:30, we're going to have that session. Remember to sign up. Closed session would be the best way to go. We have to choose the representatives from, the winners from last week. But before that, we have to ask a question as well.
Yes.
I think it's very difficult. The things we talked about today are quite intense.
They are
Gods,
definitely
humans,
intense.
Karnataka, Kerala, Tolunadu. It's very complex.
It is. It is.
It's
I do
very
admit.
complex. Yeah. So let's ask something a bit simpler. We have several masks over here. Okay. We mentioned that amongst all these masks, and even the breastplate that we showed, there is a common feature. And the common feature are this over here. Or if you see, are this over here, right? You saw that on the breastplate as well, right?
Yes.
So what are this over here? Even if I see, this is 1, 2, 3. This one is special. It has 3 in 1, correct? That means it has 3 heads.
2 are missing.
2 are missing here.
2 are missing.
But this one has 3. 1, 2, 3, correct?
Correct.
3
it's
heads.
the central one.
So what is this thing that we're talking about that is present on all the masks that we talk about, including the breastplate that we talked about today? Here, what is this thing? What is this thing here that gives it the godly power that is actually representations of the sun god's power? Here, you see. Great shot. One thing I can tell you, they're not leaves.
No, they're not leaves.
Yeah, they're not leaves. They are something that is powerful. In Chinese, we tend to relate is dragons sometimes. Yeah. So what are these on top? These are the things that will give them their godly status. Just put them in the comments, and you have a chance to be chosen, not be the chosen one to wear the mask, but to be the chosen one to actually be one of the winners next week, right? So let's choose the 3.
Yes.
Those who are winning will have to wear the mask for 2 hours. No? Yeah, no.
It's a punishment then.
Andy Elvin Yo, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Second one would be James Chua. James Chua is the second one. Congratulations. And the third one
James.
would be Eileen C. Congrats.
Very good. Congratulations.
We have these 3 winners. As I asked just now, the question is that what is the common feature that is on top of all this mask that we see? It's amazing. It's powerful, and it's something that's related to the Chinese dragons. Am I right? Yeah.
Can I say that these are animals?
These are animals. Yeah, these are definitely animals. Yeah.
Animals.
Right. Okay. We explored the masks. We talked about that this Sunday, 4:30, we'll be having the session that we talk about the godly powers of mask tunes, fengshui paintings, especially the ones in the Ping An Art Beyond Museum series. And with that, come to the gallery to have your next collection, because it's the 7th lunar month. In this month, in Singapore, everyone needs a lot of godly powers. Till then, we will meet in the gallery, and of course, the museum in Lotus next week. Cheers.
Thank you so much.